Let's talk about rare Pokemon games. Now, if you're a Pokemon collector or if you're just a fan of retro games, you're in for a treat. Today, we're diving into the rarest Pokemon games ever released, and I guarantee you some of them are going to blow your mind. Some of them you might have heard of before, but I got some good ones in here, I promise. And before we jump in, what determines how these games are rare? Why are these games rare? There's a few reasons I just want to let you know off the top. One of those being limited releases, right? Or region exclusivity. That's a hard word to say. That sounded stupid. Region exclusivity. Some Pokemon games are just only released in specific regions. Some are only in the Pokemon Center. There's a lot of different things like that you have to think about with why the games are rare. Good old supply and demand. That's the last thing I would say as to why a game is rare. You know, how many games are produced versus what does the consumer want for said game, and how that kind of wavers over time. We've seen a lot of different Pokemon games go over that kind of wave format of being expensive, being cheaper, and then kind of just going over different points just because what's popular at what time. Those are the reasons why these games are rare. And with that being said, let's jump in to the games. First up, I'm going to start out with one of my favorite finds when I was researching for this video, and that is Pocket Monster Stadium. Have you guys heard of Pocket Monster Stadium? I sure had not. Basically what this was Pokemon Stadium, the Japanese version. And this came out in 1998, before Pokemon Stadium hit North America and other regions. Pocket Monster Stadium was released exclusively in Japan in 98 for the Nintendo 64. In this version, there are only 42 Pokemon instead of all the 151 Gen 1 Pokemon. This game was originally going to be for, now get this is what it was originally made for, the 64DD. Now tell me if you've heard of that, but what that is a Nintendo 64 with a disk drive. That's kind of what I glean out of it. Due to the failure of the 64DD, it was only released for the Nintendo 64. So why is this game rare? Well, it was a test release. It came out before Pokemon Stadium as we know it, and was only released in Japan. And a few fun facts actually, in Japan, they actually held tournaments with this game, so there's some historical value there if you look back at it. A few things about the game too. Pikachu is the only Pokemon in this game that is not fully evolved that can battle. And ironically, its evolution Raichu cannot battle. Make that make sense. And also, despite Pokemon Yellow being released after this game, it's still compatible with this game. Loose cartridges, they're gonna sell between $200 and $300. Box copies over $500 or more. I'll see if we can throw some listings up on the screen for you here. And that is Pocket Monster Stadium, aka Pokemon Stadium Events Japanese version. Quick little Gengar coffee break. All right, on to our second game. This is going to be Pokemon Snap. Well, Pokemon Snap, you say, you see that everywhere at every game store. This is Pokemon Snap, the blockbuster rental copy. Now, Pokemon Snap is a game that I have never played. I was like 4 years old. I did not have a Nintendo 64. So at the end of the day, I never played this game. I never really had much interest in it. What it is a photography-based Pokemon game where players can capture photos of Pokemon in their natural habitats. And then what you would do is you would go to a Pokemon Snap station. These Snap stations were a marketing campaign from Nintendo where you could bring your game cartridge into the store, Blockbuster in this scenario, and you could print out a sheet of 16 stickers featuring Pokemon that you had taken pictures of in your game. So really cool to do that, especially in 1999, I can imagine. Again, this kiosk would be found in a Blockbuster. You would play your game at home, take your pictures in the game, take your cartridge, your memory card to Blockbuster, buy a Snap Station card, I guess, and put credit on it, and then you would insert that in, boom, there goes your pictures. So why is this particular copy of Pokemon Snap rare? Well, it was Blockbuster exclusive. Obviously, RIP Blockbuster. There are no more. Maybe there's one more in like Oregon, but I think actually that's gone now. I don't know. You would have probably had to, I would imagine, steal you'd have to steal this copy if you wanted to have it. So you're already looking at a limited supply there. The stickers on them were obviously unique to these copies. I only have been able to find a few pictures of this, right? I had to go deep in Reddit archives to even find these. So complete versions, very, very hard to find that are intact, not scraped up, right? Not messed up because they were rentals. As far as pricing, from what I could tell, you might be looking at like $300 to $700. I couldn't really find a listing. And if I did, I will pop it up on the screen, but I don't think I could find one at the time of recording this. And a little fun fact, some retro game shops, they still sell unused Pokemon Snap sticker sheets. So go ask your local game store for their Snap stickers if they have it. All right. The one you've all been waiting for, the one you probably knew was coming, is going to be Pokemon Box. Ruby and Sapphire on the GameCube, and this was released in 2004. As of right now, this is probably the most known rare Pokemon game across the world. Pokemon Box, for those who don't know, it's more of a storage utility than a traditional game. So it allows you to store up to about 1,500 Pokemon from Ruby, Sapphire, Fire Red, Leaf Green, and Emerald, all on this software, and you can see them in like a 3D environment. So it was a pretty cool little thing. This is the only game on this list I think I've actually seen out when I've gone game hunting. I think it was like $3,000 listed. We'll talk about some of the listings for it here in a little bit. Why is it so rare? Why was this game so rare? First off, it wasn't a traditional game, right? It wasn't like a game you just plugged in and you played and, you know, all the other Pokemon mainline games, things like that, you know, so the demand was not very high on this game. So that is one of the main reasons. And then also, it was a limited release in the United States. It was available exclusively through the Pokemon Center store or as a bundle with a GameCube console, only in Japan. Very, very hard to find this game because they didn't have as many in run and because the demand was so low at the beginning. And now for some reason, everybody wants it. And now it's, well, I'll throw some listings on the screen. You're looking at like $2,000 on eBay. I've seen it for $3,000. I've seen it fluctuate. Good luck if you want Pokemon Box. I personally would love to have it one day, but not right now. All right, I'm gonna bring up a weird one here, and that's gonna be Pokemon Crystal, the European variant. And specifically the boxed European variant. So why would I bring this game up, right? Pokemon Crystal, you know, if you're a game hunter like me, you'll see this out and about a good bit. It's not very rare. It is expensive. The box art is really cool and the cartridge is really cool. I was looking into rare Pokemon games. This one popped up in my research. I'll show you this, guys. I'll show you this. Basically, up on the screen, and first of all, talk about what Pokemon Crystal is as a game, just in case anybody's curious who hasn't played it or know about it. But it was one of the first, actually it was the first Pokemon game to include sprites and the ability to play as a female trainer. So it was one of the cooler games that came out in the series. It really progressed things forward. But why is this European variant so scarce and so interesting? To start, let's take a look at the price charting for the US version. What we can see is a loose copy goes for around $150, a lot of money for a loose copy of a game. Complete, 500 plus, and new, so I guess sealed, right? $800 plus. Pretty crazy amounts, right? So right there, this is one of the more expensive Pokemon games you can get. This is the US version. Now let's take a peek at the European or the PAL version. Loose, you're looking at $87 around there, so cheaper. So why is that rare? It's cheaper. Complete, $380, so that's also a few $100s cheaper. But look at this, guys. CIB or sealed, $1,500 for this game. And if you look at the price charting historical, over this past summer in 2024, this sealed copy would peak around $3,500 in value. So I did a little bit of research as into why this is a thing, why this is so expensive. Any of my European viewers, anybody over there that wants to correct me in the comments or chat about this a little bit, but apparently the boxes are bigger, there's more inserts, there's just more of a chance for this box to get destroyed and for things to kind of go wrong, I guess, is kind of the reason. The demand also wasn't as high in Europe. The production run was lower. So I think it's very, very interesting. I guess some European copies also included a language selector for English, German, French, and more. So it was pretty unique. But again, you can see the prices. It's kind of crazy. I thought this was a very interesting, rare game to be found. And before we close out, I do want to leave an honorable mention for Pokemon Black 2 White 2. As of the recording of this video, those are the only 2 games I have left in my mainline collection. I can't find them anywhere, so I'm considering that rare. If you guys know where to find Black 2 White 2 out in the wild, please let me know, but I can't find them. I saw them like one time and they were both listed like super high, way overpriced charting. So I'm gonna just call out Pokemon Black 2 White 2. I'm coming for you. I need to find you. But with that being said, there you have it. Some of the most rare Pokemon games that you can find. And like I said at the beginning, leave a comment if there's any games that you'd like me to include in maybe a part 2, because I would love to do that. Also, let me know which of these games you would like to have the most. I think for me, unfortunately, to be cliche, it would be Pokemon Box. Gen 3 was my absolute favorite, so to have that Ruby, that Sapphire, all that vibe going, I think I would love that. But let me know what you would like the most. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'll catch you in the next one, hopefully a part 2. Peace.